In today's session, we'll be discussing that how to read the complete data from a Excel file with Automation Anywhere. So to read the data from a Excel file with Automation Anywhere, we have two direct options. So that means we have two methods. I'll show you one by one. Okay. So here I have the data in Excel. So I need to read complete data. I need to read the complete data. How can we read this? I'll show you both the methods. So both the methods will be similar. Okay. There will be only a minor change will be there. I'll be showing you that what is that change. So yeah. Taking a new part, read Excel data. So to read the data from any Excel file, first we need to open that particular Excel file. For that, I'm going to the Excel basic command. Okay. Excel basic package. Here I'm taking the open command. Okay, guys. So here I'll be choosing the desktop file. Desktop. Browse button should come. It's not coming. Okay, it's not coming here. But I'll go with the alternate approach. There might be some issue with the automation anywhere. Otherwise, this browse button should be enabled. But anyhow, it's fine. So I'm just going to create one file type variable. So file. I'll be going with the desktop file. So here I'll be using the file which I want to read. It's waiting to select the path. Okay. The downloads, I'll be choosing the student details. So I assign this particular file to a variable named as Excel file. So first I created a variable, the file type variable, and I assign the file path along with the name here. So once I created the file variable with the file details, I'll be going to the open command which is inside the Excel basic package. Then here I'll be choosing the variable option. Here I'll be selecting that Excel file. As my file is having headers, see, this file is having headers. That's the reason I'm going with headers. So I'm selecting the contains headers. And I want to open the student details because I want to read the data from student details tab, not from the test tab. I want to read it from the student details tab. That's the reason here I'm going to select the student detail sheet. For that I'm enabling this checkbox, and here I'll be mentioning student details. Then here open in read only mode or read and write mode. Here my requirement is just read the data. I need not to update anything on top of this particular Excel. Okay. That's the reason I simply going with read only mode. Okay. So I selected the read only mode. Then we need to create the session. So I'm just going with the local session and naming as student. This is my session name. Now I'm done with the open command of Excel basic package. Then I need to go to the get multiple cells command from the Excel basic package. See, if you see that the get multiple values command will be there. See, get multiple cells will be there inside the Excel advanced as well. But as we are opening the file by using Excel basic, we should use the command also from Excel basic. We should not use in this combination some commands from basic and some commands from advanced. So either we should go with the basic package or we should go with the advanced package. In upcoming classes, we'll be discussing about the Excel advanced package. For now, we'll be automating this task and both the methods by using Excel basic package only. So as part of the method 1, so I dragged this Excel command called GetMultipleCells, and I am selecting all the rows because I need all the data from this particular Excel file. That's the reason I selected all the rows, and I need to provide the session name here. My session name is student because I declared this session name while opening the Excel file. So I need to use the same session name throughout the program when we are automating this particular Excel data. That's the reason here I mentioned the student as the session. Then here I said that, right? So here I am telling to the bot with the help of this command, dear bot, go to this particular session Excel and get all the rows. So this command went to that particular Excel file and it will get all the rows. Once it press the all the rows, it will immediately ask me, where can I store this data? Where can I see? It will ask me, dear developer, I already collected the data from the Excel. Where do you want to store it? So further the reason I'll tell that store it in a table variable. That's the reason student table. So I'm telling that after collecting the data from the Excel, store in the student variable. Okay. That's why we assign the student table variable here. Then after saving it here, how can we access the data from this table? So to access the data from this table, see, we cannot access the entire data at a time. So we can access the data from the table row by row only, man. Okay, row by row only. Row by row only. In this manner only, we will be able to fetch the data. Okay. So that's the reason. How can I go through row by row? For that, I need to use the table loop because this is the table type of variable, right? So that's the reason I need to use the table loop. Loop here, going here, and here I'll be selecting the each row in a table. That means now I am telling dear bot, read the row by row from a table. Immediately it will ask, okay developer, I'll read the row by row from a table, but from which table you want me read it? So then I need to provide the table name here. From student table, the bot has to read the row by row values. So once we read it, immediately bot will ask, okay, I collected the first row information, where do you want me to store? And in the second iteration, I collected the second row information, where do you want me to store? So to store the row data, see earlier to store the table data, see in the Excel the data is in table format, right? That's the reason we took the table variable in the previous example. So now we are reading the data in the row format. From the table we are reading row by row, row by row. That's the reason to store the row values, we should go with the record variable. Okay, that's the reason here I am going to create a table row record variable. Now what is happened? This bot fetched the row from the student table and assigned that particular row to the table row variable. So in the first iteration, the bot will for suppose assume that this table has 5 rows. So in the first iteration, the table row value will be the first row data. So that means in the first iteration, the table row value will be this one. It will not be. The reason is I mentioned this is it has headers, right? That's the reason first line will not be considered. So it will be considering from here. So in the first iteration, this SESI information will be dragged. The second iteration Kavya one, in third iteration Shiva one. Like this, it will fetch all 3 people information, and it will be assigned to the table row followed by. Okay. So once it's fetched the SESI details, it will be assigned to this particular table row. Whenever it goes to the second iteration and it fetches the Kavya's details, what will be happen is bot will automatically delete the SESI's information from this table row and it will assign the Kavya's information. In the same way, the third iteration and followed by remaining iterations also will work. Okay, now I assigned it to the table row variable here. So now I am saving it. So now again, the row may have multiple cells, right? So I need to access cell by cell. So here we have this many cells, right? So how can we fetch the cell details from the row means? See, for that, what we can do is, let me take the message box to demonstrate this one. Here, I'll be calling that particular record variable. The message box will support the record variable. So you need not to perform any type conversion. So once we selected the record variable, bot will ask me, okay, dear developer, I can provide the record variable data, but it's not possible for me providing all the information at a time. So that's the reason from which index or from which column you want to get the data. Okay. So when we will be go by index, index we need to mention like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. If we haven't mentioned that the Excel contains headers, we'll be go by index. And here we'll be saying that first column, second column, third column like that. But as we already mentioned that this Excel has the headers, I'll be going by name and I will be fetching that F name. So I'm saying that from this table record, the bot has to be fetch the first name and gender as well. And again, I'll be taking as gender. So now it has to fetch the first name followed by the gender. It will be fetching one by one. In the first iteration, Sissy and male. Second iteration, Kavya and female. In third iteration, Shiva and male will be the values. Okay. Let me close. Now let me run. Sissy male, Kavya female, and Shiva male. So like this, it fetch the all the information. But here my requirement is different. I just want to get the male people information. I don't want the females information. So in that scenario, what I'll do is simple thing. I'll take a if condition inside this group. If condition with respect to, I'll take a string. Or with respect to record, we don't have anything. So I'll be going with string. String condition I'll take. So once I took the string condition here, I'll be mentioning that record of gender is equals to male, then only fetch the information. If it is female, it should not fetch the information. If I run this time, see, it will be print the Sessi's and Shiva's details only. It will not be going to print the Kavya's information. So like this, we can implement the conditions inside this particular loop, data table loop, and we can fetch the required data from the table. So okay, here it's not giving anything. So what I'll do is instead of equals, I'll say includes, because whenever it is fetching, this may have spaces as well. And here one more thing, I have selected the match case as well. So when I said match case, all should be in lowercase. But if I go to the data here, if you see, maybe it might started with yeah, uppercase. That's the reason in the previous iteration it didn't fetch the data. Okay, now I am removing this match case condition here. This time it will happily fetch the information. Let me run it again. This time it will fetch the Shashi and Shiva's information. without any failure. Say C1 came and Kavya details will not come directly. It will. So Kavya also came. Kavya also came and Shiva also came. The reason is why Kavya also came means here I used the includes. If I say equals now, here will not be getting that. Let's check. Because when I say includes, the female also include male itself, right? That's the reason the Kavya information also has fetched. But now I change the condition from includes to equals. Now entire data should be match exact. C details came and Shiva details also will come. Kavya details has been eliminated because of this particular if condition. So this is the method 1 to get the data from a Excel file. Okay. And method 2 also I will be showing to you. It's a simple one. It's not a big deal. So it will be similar to one. So we'll be using the Excel open command in the same way. And we'll be using the get multiple cells command also in the same way. Here, see, assign value to the variable. It's a optional. It's not mandatory. So even though we haven't selected this, let me delete this variable itself, student table variable itself. If I delete it, even though we haven't selected this, it will work. Okay, see, if I save it, line number 2 doesn't have any error, but line number 3 is having error because the student table is already deleted. Okay, so now the thing is, in the previous scenario, we assigned the output to a particular table variable and we looped the table and we access the data. But now what I didn't assign the data to the variable. That means when the bot fetch the information file Excel file, the data is in buffer itself. That means in the clipboard memory itself. It's not exactly clipboard memory, but for understanding purpose, assume that that is inside clipboard. Okay. Okay, it is in system buffer memory actually. Okay, now it is in buffer memory and I am not assigning to the table variable. Now, how can I access the data from the buffer memory? Is simple. Here, instead of using student details for each row in table, I'll be using for each row in worksheet. See here we will be having for each row in worksheet from Excel Advanced and for each row in worksheet from Excel Basic. We have to choose the for each row in worksheet from Excel Basic because we open the Excel file by using the Excel Basic command. Okay, that's the reason we should go with this one only. So once we go this one, immediately it will ask us that how many rows you want to. So I want to go through all the rows. Then I need to give the session name because I am telling that directly read from the Excel, right? Earlier what I told that read from the Excel, store into the table variable. Now I am not storing into the table variable. I am directly reading from the Excel. That's the reason whenever we go with the each row in a Excel command or each row in a worksheet command, we should provide the session name as well. Okay, I provided it. And again, I assign it to the record variable as usual. How we did in the with the table variable. In the same method, here we'll be assigning it to a record variable, and from that record variable, we'll be fetching the data as usual. If I run this one, we'll be able to access this information as well. See, both the methods gave the same result. That means both the methods are valid. So you may get the doubts that which one I have to use in the real time. That's your comfort. You can use both the methods. That's absolutely fine. Okay. According to the requirement and according to the developer feasibility and developer comfort, you can choose any one of them. Okay. Both are valid scenarios only. Like this, we can read the data from the Excel file. So far we have shown two methods. One is reading the data from Excel and assigning that to a table variable. Then again loop the table variable and access the data. And the second method is directly read the data from the Excel itself without assigning to any third party variable like table data type variable. and directly it will be looped by using for each row in worksheet loop command. These are the two methods we have to read the data from the Excel file. We have one more method, that is using Excel as a database. By connecting this Excel as a database also, we can fetch the data from the Excel file. I'll be demonstrating that scenario in upcoming classes. For now and for this session, we are going to close this session with these two methods only. These are the standard methods and these are the recommended methods. And in extreme scenario, we can go with the database as well. That's completely depends on the requirements and feasibility. Whenever we are discussing about the database, I mean Excel as a database, I'll let you know in which scenario we need to connect the Excel as a database and in which scenario we can go with the standard Excel automation. Okay, that's all for this session.